take the opportunity to kind of say some things that I believe were massively disingenuous. Let's start here. I think this is where T Mac said it.
Best player can't get out of the first round, but I get ridiculed because I can't do it. Giannis won a championship.
Time
He
out.
won a championship.
Hold on.
After that, you couldn't get back.
You know you're my brother. Here's the deal. Here's how you got ridiculed. Y'all were up 3-1 one time, and you thought y'all had it in the bag.
Can't find that.
Hold on.
Can't find it.
When you went against Detroit, and then y'all thought y'all had it in the bag.
Because we got 3-1.
You were up 3-1. So again, it was the fact that if you're good enough to be up 3-1, they expected you to close the deal. That was the only thing
Kobe's
anybody
never
ever
been up
said.
3-1.
And then when
That's never been up 3-1.
but when they blew it, we
I'm just
pointed it
saying.
out.
I'm just saying.
When they blew it, we pointed it out. But we know they're great. But we pointed out you lost a 3-1 lead. I'm saying that's not saying you're not great. It's saying that the moment arrived and y'all ain't closed. That's all. It's a fact. Y'all.
Okay, so a couple of things, and I don't know where he. Oh, here, this is when he said it. Okay.
What defines greatness? Is it the championship? He said wrong. I didn't see your response, but for me, we have too many talented players that come through this league that are championship worthy. What I mean by that, if you take them off a team that is a championship quality team, replace me with Kobe with Shaq. I don't win a championship. You don't think I could carry the Lakers to a championship? I've never had the opportunity. Correct. I felt like if I was put in that position to win a championship, I damn sure would show up and do what I do in the playoffs to elevate my team to that level. I just never had the chance. So do I get diminished because?
Okay, so that's where all this started from. There's a couple things we have to initiate here. And I said this in my last video, I'm gonna reiterate it again, at least this point. Do I think that if you put Tracy McGrady on one of those teams where Shaq and Kobe, that he would be able to win a championship with him? Yes. Do I think that he would carry?
No.
No. Carrying is ridiculous. But as I said before, the reason why Kobe's name gets thrown around in these conversations isn't because he won one championship, it's because they three-peated. And I don't think there is a single player in the NBA at that time that would have stood up to Shaq and told him, which was the truth, that you are lazy, out of shape, fat, unmotivated, and you need to get your shit together so we can go win again. And I'm willing to stand to you so much so that we can fight about it. I don't think there is a single player. I don't think there's a single player in the NBA at that time that would have done that. That was Shaq's team in many regards, and if it wasn't for Kobe, a lot of the team would have picked up some characteristic traits from Shaq, which would have been detrimental to them winning.
And that's what the problem is, man. A lot of these people underestimate Kobe leadership. You could say he's an asshole or whatever, but Kobe leadership meant a lot to like the locker room, bro. He was able to set a tone, and like you can look at how Shaq was in Orlando, and look at Shaq after he went to the Miami, and then after that, like bro, like I think Orlando, you can kind of say he had more power in Orlando, but look at what they did in Orlando. They didn't even do shit in Orlando. Like they had opportunities to come close to a championship. It wasn't like they was losing to Michael Jordan. They beat Jordan. They had a chance to win a championship, but they wasn't able to. And then he got with the Lakers in '96. Then he was there. He was there. He was the number one star. He was a superstar. It wasn't like it was a shit team. They had Eddie Jones. They had I think Van Exel. You had a decent amount of talent on the Lakers team, but they wasn't able to do shit. But they made the playoff in like what I think it was '97 when Kobe missed them shots. He could have carried that team, but he didn't. It took until Kobe kind of had to pick up some of that slack to where they got to where they had to, then Kobe took it even a step above whatever Scott Pippen was doing with Jordan. Like Kobe like proved at times like in the playoff, especially in that the Pacers game when Shaq got fouled out, like he can able to carry a team, and that's the difference between Kobe and any other person who would have been in that position. Like Kobe was a guy who was willing to step up to the I guess to the competition or to his calling to be that guy to lead the team. Like, and And you look at Shaq, like he won one championship after without he won one championship without Kobe, and you could say that culture was more of a Pat Riley and Dwayne Wade culture because Dwayne Wade and Pat Riley had some of the same stuff. They was strict about working out. They was strict about conditioning, like hard in coaching, like that. Like it wasn't like Shaq was this great leader before Orlando, before the Lakers. It was like he won a championship for the Lakers, and then when he did win a championship with the Lakers, it was because he was on. He was. It didn't like he was the sole carrier of the Heat. Like he had a great system around him with Pat Riley and Dwayne Wade. So I think a lot of the problem is when people. I think that would led to Kobe leaving because the issue is like people just undermining how much of a leader Kobe was for that Lakers team, and that's some of the problem he had with the media at the time. Because people were just diminishing how great he was. Yeah,
And I don't think they would have ever achieved that degree of success with any other player. And these are conversations that we were having in real time. I just don't think that they're true. All the noise that we hear about Iverson and who he was as a player off the court, how dedicated he may or not have been, and to his own admission, not only did he not practice, but he himself said that he was not Kobe. Do I believe, after winning a championship, maybe two, that Iverson and Shaq in the offseason would have gotten together and worked out and been prepared for three? Let's be serious. No. 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 Vince Carter, no. Jason Kidd, no. A lot of those players had too passive of personalities to not stand up to Shaq. So I think the three is where Kobe's genius truly shines. But if you want to say one, fair. Carey, no. But from there is where people then spawn a bigger idea of, again, who Kobe was, because furthering Kobe's legacy and who he was as a player in comparison to the greatness conversation, fair enough, isn't the championships that he won with Shaq. It was the two that he won afterward, which is something that I don't believe that Tracy McGrady would not have been able to do. T-Mac might have gone to the finals one year, but winning a title, I don't think T-Mac would have won a title with those teams, which then prompted another discussion about McGrady's idea of not having the opportunity to win or get beyond the first round, which is factually incorrect. I made a video about this several years ago. Tracy McGrady was on the brink of getting out of the first round at bare minimum 3 times, and that's not including the Detroit Pistons series. That series against Charlotte, that series against Utah, and that series against Dallas. Those are all winnable series. And Tracy McGrady in second half, fourth quarter, and overtime, very pivotal moments, did not show up when it matters the most. And again, these are winnable series. So when you're comparing yourself to someone like Kobe, who in multiple incidences did show up, even in series when some of his other teammates did not play to that level, such as 08 against the San Antonio Spurs, where Pau Gasol was getting manhandled by Tim Duncan. That's a series where I don't know if Tracy McGrady would have been able to show up to get them to the next level. I don't know. I just don't know. And so then that kind of prompted a bunch of other conversations circulating around Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant, and why T-Mac was a bit out of line from comparing himself to Kobe. I said this when the video first came out. T-Mac was playing a very dangerous game. A very, very dangerous game. Very dangerous one. Because people was going to remind him real quick who he was in this hierarchy. Which then brought us to our good friends over at the Gilbert Arenas show, man. Shout out to Gil and them, Gil and family. And apparently Gil got some nasty shit off. So let's see.
Would have won a ring if he played with the Prime Shaq. So, question for the couch: do you agree with T-Mac saying he would have won a ring if he played with the Prime Shaq?
Shit, I would have too.
Shit, I would love to. Hey, I would love to have replaced Derek Fisher. Okay. Shit, I'll sit in this corner, boss man.
Win a ring as the number 2 option.
Oh no, I don't know what you talking about. We always number 2 options.
Okay, no, that's what.
Yeah. Like the whole league, that's what makes it stupid to argue. The whole league was number 2 options. If Duncan would have went there, number 2. If Duncan was there, number 2. If KG was there, number everybody.
And I said this as well. The one thing I'm not going to do on this video is cap and lie to you all, because I don't think that it does anybody any justice by lying to people. Everyone, not just in the league at that time, but in NBA history outside of.
And this was my take on Twitter the other day. When people, I was like, bro, you put a young Jordan, a young Kobe, a young Magic, a young, I don't give a fuck, Wemby. Nigga, everybody was a second option to Shaq. That's how dominant he was. Just go look at the numbers, bro. Like, I don't even got to show you the numbers, bro. He was averaging 27, 20, well, I think 27, 29, 28 in 1 year. Like, he was just dominating. He was just that. And I think somebody told me, like, Phil Jackson said, if I don't know if you told Cody Williams, might have to look it up, but even Phil Jackson said if Jordan was there on that triangle offense, he would have had one offense to Shaq. It's no way in hell you guys can logically think that any other player would have been number 1 option. But even that nasty, because people start saying, well, 2018 Bond, like, but 2018 Bond would have. I'm not talking about 2018 Bond. 2018, Kobe wasn't 2009, 2008 Kobe when he had Shaq. He was the young Kobe. Like, we're not going to be unfair to Kobe and say, well, because LeBron already had a reputation. He was already been that dude. So no, he wouldn't have to take a backseat. But if Shaq was on that team, most likely that offense would have been running through Shaq, and then LeBron would have been the facilitator for the offense. He would just give the ball to Shaq and let Shaq do his thing. But it's just nasty how people just try to, like, we're just that, like, no, Shaq was that dominating, and if we being fair, like, no, if we being fair to Kobe, you can't just have people. Well, 96 Michael Jordan, no, nigga. 96 Michael Jordan would have. We talking about coming in the league. Michael Jordan in 1984 would he have been number 1 option on that team? No. Kobe, we talking about LeBron James in 03 coming in the league, would he been number 1 on that team? No, stop it. And if you disagree, you're just a fanboy for your favorite player, and I understand it, but it's just like, okay, just stay you are. Don't try to lie or try to justify your acting. Just say, yeah, I'm a fanboy and I love LeBron so much. So I just don't see that what happening, or I love Jordan so much, or I love Tim or whatever. But it's just like it's just disgusting. Like, people acting like Kobe being a sidekick to Shaq was some crazy thing. Like, what Shaq do when he had Penny Hardaway as his second option? And Penny Hardaway was putting up good numbers, but Penny Hardaway didn't have the intangible like Kobe did, and then they could never get it done. Like, I don't understand it.
Maybe Michael Jordan would have been a second option to Shaq in those years, especially going in the finals against Rick Smits on his last leg and Jason Collins with the Nets. Everyone would have been. I mean, nigga talking about Wilt Chamberlain. If another center, then that's just an awkward fit. But everyone would have been a second option next to him, because if you were someone that was willing to get in
And people like look, man, right here in 24 and MJ and Prime Bond only, nigga. We're not talking about MJ and Prime Bond. We're talking about a young Jordan and a young Bond. They not being the number 1 option, and then this is a problem with niggas. So they just, that's why you can't talk to people, because they fucking ignorant. They come from an ignorant place. They just trying to throw these. Oh, what about this? I'm like, no, you hit them players would have. We're talking about, if we're being fair to Kobe, we're talking about coming into the league with these guys have been the number 1 option, and no, so it's no. I don't want to hear about no 24 Luka. I don't want to hear about no 2019 Harden. No, stop it. You're being unfair to Kobe. So Kobe's like, bro, I'm not coming on the team as that already made superstar. These players in these years was that made superstar. So no, it's stupid.
then that right there would be the definition of selfish. The fact that as much selfish talk that we give to Kobe, the fact that he didn't try to force himself in any of those three finals appearances when Shaq definitively had the better matchup. Yeah, prime Bron too. Prime LeBron. I saw LeBron take a backseat to D Wade. That nigga taking a backseat to Shaq. Is we talking about? He taking a backseat to Shaq.
Duncan was seeing his stats. He didn't get out the first round. Duncan number in 2000. True. Number 2. Everybody was number 2. I got about the Shaq. Yes. Everybody. He was the only player that when we're talking about guarding him, you're putting 3 to 4 people. Like it was, if you didn't dig down on the first dribble, the person that's guarding him was pissed off. Like, come on, dog. This is what we're not. Come on. You know the game plan. His first dribble, hard dig.
Would he be available?
Who?
Tracy McGrady. He was injured.
No.
So would he be?
Not early. Not when. We're talking about 2000, 2001, 2002. Yeah. So he's saying 32. Saying what? The Orlando. He's talking.
Now this is where things get odd, and this is where Gil is losing me, and a lot of people I think are rightfully upset about. The further away we get from the 2000 version of Shaq, 01 version of Shaq, and the closer we get to 2002, 2003, 2004, the closer we get to that stretch of years,
Hey, number went down.
We have a different dialogue.
Shaq numbers went down in
Because
03.
at that point, it's
Oh,
not
203.
like that's the version of T-Mac that you're referring to, but the version of Shaq that you would have to be referring to would have to be the 2001. No one thinks that at that point in 2003 that Shaq was still the same nigga that he was in 2000. No one doesn't think that. No one. That's the reason why Kobe had to go out there in the regular season averaging 36 and 6 or some shit like that. That's the reason why Kobe had to do that. No one does not think that that's the same version of Shaq. No one does not think that. Which is the chosen people. You're right. That's what the chosen people just said is the point that I want to make, but I'm gonna allow them to also lay it out. They are picking. The problem with this conversation is that they are deciding 2000 and 2001 Kobe in that year of Shaq, but picking 03 McGrady and talking about no. Y'all niggas are purposely picking.
I think, and we can go check out. Like, people don't understand, Shaq play started to decline around after 2002, going to 2003, 04, 05, 06. He wasn't on the same one, or 2000. Like, let's look at Shaq numbers, because I think people they gotta just see it for themselves. Just for what Shaq was putting up in just what Shaq was putting up in 02, 03. You have 25, 28, 26. Still good, but not quite dominant is, and because this I'm gonna go in 03, 04, 26, 20 points before that, and against the Spurs he averaged 22. And then look at just what we were talking about, 99 to 2000. Like, damn, that was dominating. 38, 25, 30. Then we go to 2000, 2001, 27, 33, 27. Like, then. Yep, 21, and against San Antonio, and 02 or 3. Yeah, so he started to decline. Gotta see the number wasn't as great, and let me see stats. You can look like what he averaged 29. I want to see what is that 2000. 28, 27, 27, 02, 03. Then his numbers steep decline, and yeah, we were talking about 03. You talking about 03 McGrady? He was averaging 21, and then they didn't. I think that's the year they lost against the Pistons. And you want to see what Kobe was putting up around the same time. I'm pretty sure Logan might pull this up, but I just want to put up my stuff. I don't want to just look at other people because this stuff I've been looking at for the past couple of days. I've been wanting to make it, but this was what Kobe was averaging, like in 2000. Let's say 2000. Yeah, 99, 2022, 28, 25, 30. 02, 03. Then he averaged 24 in 03 or 04. But that was still good numbers, still better than Shaq. But he was also, I mean, some people say I'm caping for him, but he was in and out of court. But that's his fault, so you can't really put it on him or nobody else. But just what he was averaging in the postseason, 03, 04. He averaged 22 in the finals. 24, 26. And it was probably not at his best because he went out of the court, but still, like, to say Tracy would have carried, I don't think Tracy would have got, and especially against the Pistons team, I don't think Tracy would have even, I don't know if they went against San Antonio, if Tracy was lead man of that team in 03.
Kobe while talking about the best version of T-Mac to get this shit off. And the fact that that's the only way that you niggas can get it off kind of proves the point. That kind of proves the point. That kind of proves the point.
About the Orlando T-Mac was early. That T-Mac was crazy. I don't think the Orlando T-Mac, he's saying if he took the Orlando T-Mac that averaged 32 in that, and you replace him and put him with Kobe, he's the same person. Yeah, it was a point in time where T-Mac. He's talking about that time. It was a point in time where T-Mac was like, we were saying that it was like a point in time where everybody was like, yo, who's better? It was a point in time like for 2 or 3 years. Having the conversation and Kobe. Everybody never got out the first round. He's not. Where are y'all? We get the. He's been in Orlando 30 years. Not doing 32 times. He's not saying one. He's saying you wrong. Stupid niggas, but he said, if you take me and put me in there, I can average 22 and win the championship. That's what he said.
Okay, so this is where niggas is getting kind of, again, shaky. So before you pop a fucking gasket, because there's something else that Gil said in the first take episode that was, again, we're blurring the lines with the years that we're talking about here. So to what Meta World Peace said, he's actually correct, and we can go back and we can find articles. But there's a point in time once Shaq was declining and he wasn't definitively the best player, that there were arguments about if Kobe and McGrady, who's better between the two. But the reason why that's important to highlight is because that was also the same time when niggas were starting calling, where people were starting throwing Kobe in best in the world conversations. This clip that Gil is arguing about how no one gave Kobe credit. Again, we're talking about like. He's like mixing up so many years it makes no sense.
Waiting to hear. I mean, I just want to hear what everybody has to say, and I'll respond. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know what I said, bro.
It's about a team award, something that a structured leagues to win does not boost you in front of individual accomplishments. And when you use Kobe, which frowned upon what LeBron said, I would disagree with that.
Got you.
I would disagree with that.
I remember what I said there.
In real time, Kobe had 3 rings. Y'all wasn't treating him like a 3-ring player. He was treated like a sidekick. He was considered a sidekick. He was considered a Robin. He was considered the next Pippen. In 2002, with 3 rings.
That is factually correct. Gil had me with some of what he's saying, but as soon as he said the next Pippen, that was factually incorrect. No one did not think of Kobe as the next Pippen in 2002, 2003. No, they didn't. Fans didn't, players didn't, and also GMs didn't. No, they didn't. And now you're contradicting yourself, because now if you're saying that they thought at one point T-Mac and Kobe were one-on-one, like Meta just said, now you're basically saying, so you also think they were saying that Tracy was one-on-one with the next Pippen arguments? Because that wouldn't make any sense. If after Kobe had won 3 championships and they were still saying that he was the next Pippen, not in 2000, I can hear you, maybe even 2001, but by the time we get to post 3 championships, 2003, no, nigga, no. And I'll prove my point. See, I'll have facts to back what I'm saying. We're not going to just sit up here and just be yapping. We're not gonna do that. GM poll 2003. 2003. I think that many of you all can already see what that says at the top.
Damn.
Right here, where it
Kobe
says,
was one.
NBA GM survey 2002-2003 edition, October 9th, 2023. One, Kobe Bryant. I think y'all already see it says it. I think y'all see it already. So this is the first year that they actually did the poll, the GM poll, and we're gonna get to what the fans thought as well, so we can go ahead and knock this shit out. Who will win the 2003 Finals? Overwhelmingly the Lakers. Which team has the best chance of dethroning the Lakers? Sacramento, not even San Antonio. Who will win the 2022?
But I thought Tim was always that great. I thought Tim was the best player, bro. I'm telling you niggas right now, this, and that's another thing I'm getting tired of. I understand the Spurs fan, but you niggas who not even Spurs fan saying that Tim Duncan is over Kobe, y'all never believe that. Y'all only started saying that after Kobe got hurt in the later years, and people was like, you know what? I think Tim Duncan was really better than Kobe. Nigga, what? You wasn't saying. So what happened in 2005, 2008, 2009? Tim Duncan wasn't that player. He wasn't in no conversation. Y'all never compared him to Jordan. Why all of a sudden I'm hearing he was better than Kobe? What happened from then to now? What happened in 2012, 2013, 2014 that made Tim Duncan out like? Cause even in 2013, 2014, Tim Duncan was even seen as the best player on his team. It was people were looking at Kawhi Leonard and like, yo, that guy's up and coming. And Tony Parker was one who people was looking like he was the star of that team. They look at Tim Duncan as a pivotal role of that team, but it was more of the Spurs system. Nobody would look at Tim Duncan as king as he was in the early 2000s. I just thought that was disingenuous. That's another thing that just people just like to just act like. Yeah, that was always common sense. It was never conversation. Nobody, you wasn't putting Tim Duncan, even when he won and when they blew out the Heat, nobody said Tim Duncan was, hey, Tim Duncan and Kobe, or Tim Duncan and Jordan. No, it was maybe Spurs fan, but nobody was having those conversations. I'm sorry. It didn't happen. I'm sorry to the Spurs fans, Tim Duncan fans. No, nobody was putting your mans in them conversations. I'm sorry. He would never compare to Jordan. Nobody. I'm sorry. And maybe you complain on the media or whatever because he's nonchalant, but I'm sorry. It was never seen. He was never like that. He was a great player, but nobody ever seen him like that. Some people still, to this day, argue if he's really better than Shaq. And the only thing he got over Shaq is when the longevity. That's bad. 2003 Most Valuable Player of the Year award, Kobe Bryant. And that's another thing I hate because I know I don't know if you're gonna touch on it, but here's another thing. Like when people try to tell me, you hear people like Shannon Sharp say, "Well, Kobe got one MVP, so why should we? Why should he be top 5?" Nigga, what? What you got to? Okay. So you want me to say MVP matters, but when LeBron don't win the MVP against James Harden with 2018-19, y'all say, but MVP is just a media, it's just a media-driven award. Y'all complain when Westbrook won it. Y'all complain when they gave Joel Embiid the award a couple years ago. But you want me to take MVP as a serious award of who's the better player? If you tell me, so if you tell me MVP matters so much, then why see Nash in y'all top 10? He won back-to-back MVP with 2 MVPs. he's not none of y'all top 10. And don't tell me, and don't say, well, then, because people want to say, well, championship matters, but we should discount you if you don't have one MVP. But when you got people with two MVP, nobody can put them in conversation. No one talk about it. Bill Russell got what 6 MVPs or something like that. Nobody talk about him being in top 5. Why not? He got 6 MVPs. He got 11 championships. Like what give? It's it's like a constant battle. Like, and I can go to other sports. I can tell you, bro. This guy won Rookie of the Year and won MVP. This other guy didn't didn't have none of those, but he's a what top 10. When I say one thing, this other guy had a top. He's top 5 in passing, top 5 in touchdown all time. And I'll tell you who the people was. I'll tell you Cam Newton and Drew Brees. Drew Brees have no MVP. Cam Newton have one MVP. Do you value that more? Do that uplift Cam Newton? Do you think more of Cam Newton because he had one MVP and you left Drew Brees because he have none? No, because you know Drew Brees. Drew Brees could have won MVP. He would have to go against Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. And even though he don't have MVP, you know in your heart and mind that Drew Brees is a better quarterback than Cam Newton. But y'all guys value MVP so much. It just y'all don't make sense. So when I look at y'all argument, y'all tell me MVP. Like I think because given range who we were talking about is like rings and people talking rings matter, and he we're talking about something like Klay Thompson or whatever, and then you look at what Klay Thompson left off. But my thing is okay then. What about the people who try to take Kobe out of the top 5 talks because he had one MVP? So is rings matter more or the MVP matters more? Because when certain players win MVP over your favorite player, you tell say it's media driven. Y'all say it's narrative driven. It's not really fair, or this person really deserve MVP, and y'all kind of discredit it. But then when I'm talking about Kobe being or other players being in top 5 talk, you say, well, he had one MVP. So it's what does it do? MVP matter or does it don't? Because you in your heart of heart, everybody knows Kobe should have had more than one MVP. He should have had more than one. That's a no-brainer. But he was held back because his team he didn't have a great team. It's not like Kobe wasn't putting up great numbers. He didn't have a good enough team to win MVP. So is that his fault or is that the team fault? And if you want to put it on him, then I would say, then what's the point? What's the point? So you saying a guy can be great all he wants, but because the team sucks, he must get penalized for that? That don't make sense. But when I look at Steve Nash, okay, Steve Nash won MVP, but he never won a championship, and you say he had a good team around him, and y'all say that system was so good, and then you would go look, like, it wasn't like he was the best point guard in that system. Mike D'Antoni went with James Harden, and James Harden put up better numbers with him. And look at Steve Nash before he got to the starting system. He wasn't as great before. Like, he had some talent, but he wasn't as great as he was in that starting system, or what that Mike D'Antoni's 7 second left the system. So it's just disingenuous. Like, a lot of people just try to, to me, it's like a lot of people try to talk down on Kobe legacy or try to use negative or say this or that. But when I try to, when I pick at these, like some of the things people say, like Kobe was inefficient, and then I say, well, LeBron had more missed field goals than Kobe. So would that mean LeBron is inefficient? It's just a lot of weird stuff that people try to do to diminish Kobe. And I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of LeBron fans, but I don't understand it because LeBron even considered Kobe a top 5 player of all time, top 3. If you ask LeBron, he will say him, Jordan, Kobe. That's who he believed because he looked up to Kobe. When he was in the league, he said Kobe was the best player, and he strived to be what was Kobe was. And if you think he passed him or whatever, that's you. But it's just disingenuous. Like when people try to act like he wasn't top 5, they try to stay the MVP. Like that's stupid. Like y'all don't even value MVPs like that. Like when Jokic won when Jokic didn't win the MVP over Embiid. Even this year when Shea won over Embiid, y'all was like, well look at Jokic, and then like y'all was like, well, if we're gonna penalize Jokic because his team isn't good as OKC Thunder. But you look at Kobe, he was putting up great numbers, but his team wasn't as good. He had guys like Smush Parker and Kwame Brown, and he was in a Western Conference, which is a tougher conference. But y'all penalized him, and y'all didn't give him no MVP. He got one, and now we want to hold it against him. But when other players don't win MVP, we try to diminish the players who won over them. It's like it don't make sense. Y'all really talking in circles.
With Shaq. That's not Pippen, nigga. That's not. That's not Pippen. That's not Pippen. Josh Hart, number one fan, is right. That sounds like 1A to 1B to me. See, a lot of niggas have rewritten history about who Kobe was. Kobe was not, 2000 version of Kobe was not the same nigga in 01, 02, 03, 08. That nigga was not the same. By the time we get past 01, it is undeniably 1A, 1B. Undeniably. Atlantic Division, Central Division, Midwest, Pacific Division, okay. Most intense player, not even Ben Wallace. It's actually Alonzo Mourning. Big shout out to Alonzo. We keep going. Who was the player to most likely make a last-second shot if the game depended on it? Kobe. More than Reggie Miller, more than Michael Jordan, more than Allen Iverson. Who they thought was the best rebounder? Ben Wallace. Who do you enjoy watching the most? Kobe. Best point guard, Jason Kidd, wasn't even close. Best shooting guard, Kobe Bryant, wasn't even close. The fuck they thought Paul Pierce was a two guard is ridiculous. But here is where T-Mac, I'm giving the credit where credit is due. T-Mac was viewed as the best small forward in the NBA. He was. Duncan over Garnett and Shaq, not even close. Best international players you can see. You know, this is what this is. We can all see this. So I want people. GP was still getting best defender in the NBA conversations in 2003. Ridiculous. Okay, that's ridiculous. GMs thought Kobe was tied for third though as well. To be fair though, we continue. Most versatile defender, T-Mac is right there, number 2. Tracy doesn't get enough credit for what he did defensively. Really good defender. Kobe's fourth though. Viewed as someone who could defend 1 through 3. Pure shooter, Ray Allen. Y'all kind of get the gist. Y'all get the gist. Best athlete, Vince Carter. So someone. Oh, and this is the last one. If you were starting your franchise today and could assign any player in the NBA, who would it be? Shaq, Duncan, Kobe, tied with McGrady. So I'm showing you all this so y'all know at this point in time in NBA history, that is the perception of Kobe. It's not fucking Scottie Pippen. It's not. It's just not. It's not. In 2000, sure. 01, maybe. 2002 and beyond, hell no. No. But we'll continue back with this clip.
I don't know. Kobe got him 30. Kobe got him 28, 20. Yeah, 20. The first year, I was 20. But when he's saying if you just put me in there and I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm the second option and I'm playing my role, shit, we can win a championship. What makes me not win a championship? He's not saying he's gonna be there and do that. He's just saying you put me there. Everybody say the same shit. If you sub me with motherfucking Derek Fisher, nigga, I can win a championship with that. We don't know that. Yeah, we do. We don't know chemistry. We don't know that.
Now, what Gil is saying is right. In 2000, a lot of people felt that way about Kobe, that anyone could play alongside Shaq and they could win. And that was kind of expedited and added something on top of that once Kobe went down with that injury. But by the time we get to like 2002, 2003, bro, like those conversations were done. Also, just in case you want to know, February 8th, 2001, who's the best player in the NBA? Thanks for choosing who you thought was the best. We received more than 6,500 emails on the subject. Divided equally per player for you to check out. And there's Kobe.
Damn.
There's Kobe. So, again, and to be fair, there's McGrady. And Gary Payton. Gary Payton got a lot of love. I don't know what the fuck. But I just want to be clear. Bro, in 2001, 2002, we are at a point where it's not Scottie Pippen comps anymore. We're beyond that. And that's just 01. We can go to 2002. There's another one where they did it where ESPN. Is it? Here we go. Cast your SB vote. Best NBA player, Kobe. Tim Duncan, Garnett. Again, to be fair, T-Mac. But Kobe, without a doubt, was in these talks, in these conversations. He was not, and this is ESPYs. Previous years, Shaq, Duncan, Jordan, Hakeem. They thought Charles Barkley was the best player in '94. Hey, I'm here to just give you the facts. I'm not saying I agree with him and I don't. Just here to give you the facts. That's it. But yeah.
Nigga, what? Yeah. You just want to put people since y'all wasn't in the league, were you in the league then? Do you think the Orlando, the nigga that won the scoring title, if you replace him with Kobe, does he have a chance to win championship?
I mean, that scenario, probably.
Okay. Kenyon? Oh,
yes.
Okay. 100%. Okay. The people that say also said yourself in that same position. It is one. You nigga was 20. Damn.
I'm saying, and then,
Work ethic ain't like Kobe.
but you know, Shaq chose. He chose to go to the Lakers. So he chose to go there.
20 on that team.
That's 20 in
Yeah, nigga, it is when you got him over averaging 35, my five is more than enough.
38 1 year too.
Yeah.
More than enough.
Kobe, you don't ever put Kobe and T-Mac in the same
They did. They did.
Well, no.
Only for a couple years.
Hold on.
What Meta is saying is right, but it was only for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let y'all niggas know. Back in the day, my nigga, we used to have dumb conversations or conversations that were premature just off of the fact of saying shit. We don't have those conversations as much as we do now because niggas get too embarrassed by some dumb shit they may say. People are afraid of a gotcha moment. Back then, you could get some shit off and never show back up again. But back then, we were comparing Darren Williams to Chris Paul. I remember those.
On me.
Combos. Looking back at it, that was dumb. That was a dumb convo. I remember when niggas was putting Amari Stoudemire and KG and Duncan convos because of points per game preference.
On me, bruh. And this was like before the internet, like before like people can like combat like people do like if you had a talk show or whatever, like you can get off any agenda or whatever narrative you can just to say it. Like it was Darren Williams and Chris Paul. That was definitely one of them. I know I'm already starting about it. I never saw like the like why people would put start my in conversation. Like I gotta think of some other ones. What I can think of. It was probably some other stuff. But yeah, like I can't really think of much more. I gotta, but it was a lot of crazy. Like yeah, like people could just say stuff, but like you like nobody would really check you. There was no internet to like really. There was no Twitter or nothing. Like some people like you can just say shit and don't have to worry about nobody's fucking saying anything back unless that player like come back against you or somebody else on the network. Like if they sometimes they probably let you get your shit off. But yeah,
that was dumb. I vividly remember that. I vividly remember niggas used to trash Dirk after he lost in the finals and they couldn't get out the first round as the MVP. I vividly remember that. I vividly remember that. Stephon Marbury convos and Steve Frank, like I remember these. But normally, after a year or two, one nigga would show up and be more consistent than the other, and then those convos would die. I promise you. After
Carmelo
03,
and LeBron.
maybe 04.
That
But
probably
it's
one.
just a 2 to 3 year stretch when people were having this convo.
People had conversations about Carmelo and LeBron, who was the better player. Carmelo was seen as the better offensive player coming out for the first part of their careers. People was comparing Dwayne Wade and Kobe in the later years. Yeah, but like, everybody had a conversation. I don't know. It was like people still to this day compare who was better, Westbrook or Drake. Well, it was just like, yeah, people always had them conversations.
Let's not ever downplay it. Hell of a stretch, but once he kept getting knocked out in the first round, and then once because here was the excuse for McGrady. Oh, I don't have Grant Hill, and so he kept exceeding expectations. But once he went to Houston, those arguments are out the window. And once that nigga went to Houston and still couldn't get out the first, yeah, and then Shaq left LA, and then we saw that nigga put 35 up.
Yeah, I think even when because Gilbert Freeman got in his feeling. I don't know if he's gonna show up, but Gilbert got in his feeling after this, and I guess Kobe fans and Richard McCant was coming at him. He talked about with Sean McCant. He talked about weird shit when I think after Shaq left and Kobe didn't average 35. They was in the locker room talking to Kobe like, "Oh, what happened?" And I think the following year, he was like, "Yeah." And when he averaged 35, he shut niggas up. Niggas was quiet in the locker room at All-Star Weekend.
Comes the word. That's when those combos died down. It was a 2 to 3 year stretch. Same thing that y'all niggas do, weird dumb niggas do with Dame and Curry. Dame was on that thing.
Yeah, I remember the Dame and Curry conversation though. And people still get this shit off, but it's like people always gonna compare. Like people always gonna see like what if like people we go back to the '90s. People like what they say about Jordan when she's talking 6 threes in the game. Well, Clyde Drexler is a better shooter, and what if Clyde was on the Bulls or something like that, and then he shut people up, and then he beat the Trailblazers, like he shut like there was always people comparing players. It wasn't like a straight up runaway. Like even when Jordan came to the league, he was seen as really talented, but it was still Magic and Bird at the top, and then at the '90s, he was like he fucking dominated the competition. But those two people trying to compare him to Drexler or Clyde, or compare him to Dominique, or compare him to Barkley. Like it's just always gonna happen, bro.
You niggas play, and you know the difference. You know the difference. You know the difference. You niggas can sit here and talk all that, but then you see the difference, and then those conversations die. That's what happens.
It was like 2 years. Hold on. Hey, we don't want to be. Hey, I'm sorry. Hey, y'all. Oh, you guys wasn't there. You guys wasn't there. So hold on. So hold on. Been a fan of who? Hold on. You wasn't there. You wasn't there. Hey, I said it. Y'all said I was stupid. Can you say exactly again who was there? No, you said I don't want to. You said everybody, right? You got me. Hey, you got me fucked up. 3 people in your ear. So hold on. You wasn't there. You was in the middle.
Oh, this guy toxic. Whoa, this guy real toxic.
You was in middle school. You was in middle school. You was in high school for the 12th time. So we don't want to hear.
That's fucked up.
Can you tell me exactly when Kobe had 3 rings and T-Mac was doing what T-Mac was doing? What were we saying again?
In that era, it was about 3 years where everybody was saying they didn't know who was better.
They didn't know who was better.
It was just
they
discussions, and one was 3 rings. This is Jesus. They act like I made it up.
Okay, and I want to be clear. I don't think what Gil is saying is right. This is where it doesn't make any sense. If you're saying that after 3 championships, you couldn't tell the difference between Kobe and Tracy McGrady, then after 3 championships is Kobe still getting Pippen comps? That's where that shit don't make no sense to me. That don't make no sense to me. That makes no sense. Because at that point, that shit is out the window. That's where you lose me. Yes.
Yeah, because Pippen was never seen the best player in the league, and I think, and it might have been some. I know it was Shaq was comparing like when him and Kobe were talking, and he said, you know, he see Kobe as like another Penny Hardaway. I think like Kobe was widely regarded as the number 1 option, but I think it was like just little comments like that would take him off a little bit. Cause yes, I think at the time Kobe was seen as clearly he was like one of the best players in the league, but you still had like some of the doubt. Like some of the, you know, of course you had people. I'm pretty sure you could probably find some people nitpicking Kobe back then, because there's a reason why Kobe and Shaq broke it up. Because Kobe wanted to prove people like, yo, it's just not. It's just. But I think it was more of people trying to say Kobe got carried by Shaq. It was just some of this narrative. I think Kobe was one that did all the narratives that he could win out. He could definitely win without Shaq. I think that was the. I think that was the most thing that Kobe was fed up about. Like it was just like the small little inkling of like people really saying that what can you do without Shaq? I think that was like can you do without Shaq? I think that was more the. I don't know if they were comparing him to Gotti or whatever, but I think it was just the reason why him and Shaq separated because Kobe wanted to prove he can do it by himself. I think more than anything.
Back was hooping out of his mind, and it fooled niggas to believe that they were close. And then once Kobe, similar to T Mac, didn't have a big next to him like Shaq, Kobe did the exact same thing that T Mac did, if not better, while also leading the team to.
He did it better.
Wins. So no, but that don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. How the can a nigga be comparable to T-Mac, the nigga who's giving you 30, leading the league and scoring 32 points per game, but also be getting Pippen comps? That makes no sense. None. Zilch. Nada.
They came over. I made this shit up. I fucking said it. That's fine. It wasn't my opinion. It was a fact. He came on here and said the same thing. And y'all want to argue with the niggas that was there. It can't be a fact if you don't get out the first round. Right. Do shit. Come on, man. So I hear the great you can't compare the 30 years.
I'm not necessarily comparing them because how I felt at that time, I felt Kobe might have had the edge personally.
82%.
I might have felt Kobe had the edge, but what everybody was saying.
Personally, it has nothing to do with what you say. Everybody.
Yeah, I feel like maybe Kobe had the edge, but everybody was saying like, "Yo, T-Mac is nice." That's what people were saying.
They said you was the best player in the league. Now you were saying nobody said that. What?
Okay. Okay. All right. Nigga can be Gil, Meta, or Kenny, and none of them niggas was the best player in the league. No, nigga. No. Because when Gil was doing what he was doing, Kobe was also doing that shit in the West. He was putting up 30. Gil was putting up 30. Kobe was putting up 35. Gil would have 60. That nigga would have 81. Nobody's not thinking 04 that LeBron was the best. What the fuck are you talking about? What? No one did not think LeBron was the best player in the league in 04. Nigga, stop.
But that's another nasty narrative, bro. People always trying to push this narrative that LeBron was the best player when he walk in the fucking league, and they might do the same thing with Wemby. But I don't know, man. It might have been like the LeBron fans who were born after 2005 who looking back, nigga. Nobody thought LeBron was the best player until maybe 2011. Yeah, even 2010, people were probably thinking, but he hadn't won yet. You know, and so people were still holding reserve, like, nah, it's Kobe, still Kobe. Even, but 2011, it was probably more split. And then I think in 2012 is when LeBron like got the edge over Kobe, and then after when he went back to back, it was no doubt who was the best player in the league. And then that was around the same time also Kobe got injured and he started to slip. So like, yeah, it's just people just trying to rewrite history, and you just gotta like. But I was there, bro. I was there. They were making fun of they had McDonald's commercial making fun of LeBron not winning championship, bro. Like he was good, but people didn't start him as the best player until he finally cracked the case and won in 2012. I don't know what it was like in Jordan when he was Jordan seemed the better player, but I know it was narrative where he couldn't get past pitching, and once he got past him and won, then people was ready to crown him as the best player. Like this narrative that LeBron, I remember vividly people saying it was like 2017, 2016 that LeBron was the best player for a decade, and I was like, well, it's 2017 right now, so that means 07 people think LeBron was the best player. They was not saying he was the best player. No, they're not. He was top 3 for sure, but he wasn't the best player. And if he was the best player, he was probably still a LeBron fan. It wasn't widely considered Sting as the best player. The media loved him. They probably loved him more than Kobe, but he was not the overwhelming best player. A lot of people still thought Kobe was the better player. It's like, man, but it's weird though, man. People get weird about it.